Everybody, let's welcome Xante here on the Solution Starter Show. It is actually our very first podcast, so we just want to thank you for coming on the show, and we can't wait to see what you have to tell us.
Much love. I just appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Yeah. Okay. So today our topic is switching lanes. So if you don't know, Xante, he is councilman of Prairie, and if you would like to just tell us a little bit about your position, what you do, where you went to school, if you just want to tell us a quick bio, a quick little a quick little synopsis of who you are, that would be great.
Yeah, for sure. So I came into Prairie View as a mechanical engineering major in 2014. However, I switched my major twice, ended up graduating my Bachelor of Science in Mathematics in 2018.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so a lot of switches, and a lot of self-discovery within that process. I was in mentoring organizations. I was the director of a ministry my sophomore year, campus ministry. I ran for Mr. Prairie View, A&M University. I got first runner-up my sophomore year, my junior year. So I pledged Alpha Phi Alpha, and I became SJ Vice President. And then my senior year, I ran for City Councilman for the city of Prairie View. And so I get that question a lot, is what are some of the roles and responsibilities? So
Right.
outside of just advocating for the citizens,
Right.
we have to make sure that our infrastructure as well, sewage, water, we create bonds, we create boards and commissions, we set the tax rate. So we do a lot of things that the community need based off of what is being said out of.
Give me 1 second. Hold on, baby. This thing just stopped.
Alright, so some of the roles and responsibilities of the city councilman is, one, we try to advocate and try to put in our budget for fix our infrastructure, water, sewage, streets. We do bonds for those type of things, or we may raise taxes, we set the tax rate, we do boards
Right.
and commissions. So we do a lot of advocating on behalf of the needs of the community at that moment in time.
Right. And I just want to say, first of all, wow. Okay, like Mr. PV, right? Mr. Prairie View and A Phi. I'm a Delta. Okay, that's
All
what
right.
okay. I'm a Delta, and I just think it's awesome to, first of all, for you to be able to accomplish so much as a college student. You know, a lot of times we, first of all, get so caught up in the hype of college. We get so caught up in the partying and the fun that, a lot of times it just goes by the wayside. A lot of things that we do, they don't correlate to the life that we have afterwards. So I just want to commend you for setting yourself up for such a great future ahead, because not only did you use everything that you had learned, all the ministry, the leadership roles, the mentorship, I'm guessing, you could correct me if I'm wrong, all of that poured into you becoming councilman.
Oh, for sure. One thing about me, I feel like I'm a very well-versed man. I consider myself, I'm an aspirant of being a community organizer, community activist, community developer. But the thing is, it's hard to advocate for a community that you don't understand or know.
Right.
So because I put my hand in so many different things, it's like I gain a different perspective. And I think the best thing I gain from being such well-versed is that you can't listen to respond, you gotta listen to understand.
Yeah.
Because everybody comes from different backgrounds, they come from different walks of life.
Right.
So if you're not willing to ask those questions and listen for that answer,
Right.
then naturally you will get too big-headed, egotistical. And I think the most important ideology that I've ever had for this position is the collective consciousness of the community
Right.
will always be greater than the knowledge of the leader.
Wow, say that one more time. Tell us one more time. I like that.
The collective conscious of the community will always be greater than the knowledge of the leader.
Wow, that's so awesome, though. And especially and because Waller County has that stereotype and has its share of hardships, especially for African American people as well as African American students. So I just want to say, what was the mindset that it took you to say, okay, I want to transition from being a student to taking my efforts to the city and impacting this whole city, this whole county, in a sense? Like, what was the mindset that it took you to go from here to there?
Right. So one thing is, like, I always consider like the city of Prairie like the city of neighborly love. Mm-hmm. Regardless of the past and history, like mm-hmm. I'm a very optimistic minded person.
Right.
And I know that if you put in the work, like, things could change.
Right.
But I went to a conference this past week in Miami. It was called the Young Elected Officials, where there was, people in elected positions all across America that was pretty much under 35. And a lot of them were the youngest in their position or their respective body. And one quote that I heard from Michael Tubbs, who's the mayor of Stockton, I hope I don't butcher it, but it really stuck to me. Right. It was that empathy is not policy, and charity is not justice. Meaning that you can't just talk about how you feel, like, or just be like, oh, I understand your situation. Like, you gotta put in work.
Right.
And so one of the mentalities that I came in is that I'm ready to put in work.
Right.
And I consider the work as a city councilman or anybody that's in public service is spiritual work. Mm-hmm. Like, you gotta really feel it in your soul. Like, because if you don't feel it in your soul, you're not gonna be willing to get up in the morning and endure the scrutiny, endure the hatred, endure the rumors. Because at the end of the day, it's like, I feel like God had something better for Prairie, had something for Wallace County, regardless of the end. And to me, it's like, I got to be that vessel to be there. So if I don't feel spiritually that this is what's the right thing to do, then I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. If I'm not able to sleep at night, that's not something I'm going to endure in the first place.
Right. So as a student, you basically said that, in my opinion, I feel like you're saying that it takes for you to switch a lane. It takes for you to find passion. It takes for you to find your purpose in something. It's one thing to say, okay, I want to go from a student to a city councilman, but it's another thing to say that I've been called there. I have purpose there. And that mentality, that mindset, that in itself is would you say that, and I'm asking you, would you say that that's the core of switching lanes, is having a purpose or having a passion towards what you're going? Or do you feel like, it just has something to do with ambition, it just has something to do with determination? What do you think?
No, I definitely agree that you got to find your passion and your purpose. Because a lot of people, they put in work, but then they're not putting their work in their passion or their purpose. So it's like, you're doing good things, but behind closed doors, like, you sad, you frustrated, like, you don't want to do it no more, and it end up showing at the end of it all, because now, like, you look stressed, you look tired. But finding your passion, and the thing about it is, a lot of people think that finding your passion is a one-track thing. Like you just find it one day, you're like, no, like, in my college, I went through so much. I got dogged for a lot of decisions that I had to make because I thought it was the right one for myself and for my people. But instead of letting myself get down, I was like, okay, this is time for me to be refined. Because one thing is, whenever you go into public service, you're going through fire. But fire is going to do two things to you. It's either going to burn you or refine you. And if you're able to sharpen yourself the way you're supposed to, then you know that's the right path you're supposed to go to.
That's a whole word. That's a whole word. And that's with life in general.
A fact.
That's with life in general. Whenever you're going through, becoming who you're going to be, you got to expect that resistance. You got to expect that you're going to go through, like you said, quote unquote, that refinery moment, that refinery period, because that's gonna be the moment that makes you into who you want to become, And I think, I think it's awesome what you're doing for the community. I think it's awesome where you're going, your vision. I want to say, what has kept you going besides, I know that you say that this is your purpose, this is your passion, but what also, because I know that people say, he's so young, he's so, he's this, he's that, what does he know about public service? What does he know about defying the odds? What does he know about drainage and sewage? What does he know about this, and what makes him qualified? Do you ever feel like you're unqualified, or do you ever feel, defeat? I mean, I'm pretty sure you feel defeat, but what do you do about it? What do you do about it?
Yeah, so one thing is you gotta do your homework, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can love something, but if you don't do your homework, do your research, then you're always going to fall into the hands of those that know more than you. The thing about that is, if someone knows more than you, you don't know their intentions all the time. So if they out for your downfall, like they can easily set you up for failure because you don't know. So one thing about me is like I was always a student every day of the week, and not just in the classroom. Cause I feel like the classroom. This is another conversation, but the school system can only teach you to be a worker, but not a free thinker.
Hey.
The only way to be a free thinker is you gotta teach yourself. So a lot of times when I was in a position, I was learning on my own the things that I know that I'm gonna need to be successful. Because a lot of people can be the jack of all trades, but become the master of none. So
I say that all the time, man. That's one of my favorite sayings. Yeah.
Be the master, and so it's like I want to be able to master the ideology that a city councilman needs to serve, my community. The thing about my community is it's a very interesting dynamic. Because you got the university that has 18 to 22-year-olds, which is a very younger generation, but everybody outside of the university is an older community. So it's like, how do you bridge that gap whenever you lean towards the collegiate population, because that's your age, that's what you pretty much know all your life.
Right.
And so I had to be consistently learning. I had to go out and meet people. I had to hear the mindset. I had to hear the scrutiny. I had to hear the rumors. Because at the end of the day, it's like if I'm going to be the one to bridge that gap, then I got to put myself out there enough to be willing to, be talked about and be hated on. Because at the end of the day, the knowledge that you missed today is the knowledge that you wish you would have had tomorrow. So you got to continue.
Gems, boy. You dropping gems, okay? You dropping gems, man. I really do believe that, like you said, you gotta be a student at all times. If you want to switch lanes from anything, if you want to, let's say you want to go from being a cashier at McDonald's and now you want to be a MUA, or you want to be whatever. Let's say you want to go into politics, or you want to go into, let's say you trying to go back to school. You gotta not only teach yourself what's in the books that you learn at school, but you got to be willing and ready to teach yourself things that they can't teach you. You got to be going and finding out that information for yourself. You got to be willing to say, okay, I get that they teaching me this, but what else can I learn? And we always talk about, self-education. That, I feel like that is a major key from you going from being here at this place to here at that place, because it's only so much someone is going to invest in you. You have to learn to invest in yourself just as much as you want other people to invest in you. So I can see that you've invested a lot of time and energy into yourself also, and not depending and waiting on others, and not saying, okay, but I get that they want to help me, but I also know that, I got to put in the legwork too. I got to go out here and educate myself too, because it's only so much that I'm going to learn, waiting on somebody else to teach me.
Right.
And I think that that's so important. I think that that's like a major key to, being successful. They say that, a lot of people who own big companies, a lot of people like Bill Gates and all these people, they didn't go to college. And I advocate for education, though. Let's not get it twisted. I highly educate for higher education, but it just goes to show you what self-education can do, and what also you learning can do. You learning yourself can do for your life. That those people, they might not have got the same education, but we gifted, we blessed to be able to have higher education, plus being able to self-educate as well. So I think that that's awesome. I think that I know that that's had a lot of impact on, where where you've gone and how much impact, because I see like you've gone, you've met, you've advocated for K9 police dog for safety reasons. You fixed pipes burst in the city. You've helped with internet, services for the city, voting rights. You've registered all of these people to vote, and social bonding, like you've connected a whole community together. You've connected college students with this population that they might not know anything about you've done a lot. So I just want to know though, what is the mindset that you have right now at this moment that keeps you going? What is the mindset that you have to say, okay, I've done a lot, but I got so much more to do. What's behind that? What's the mindset right now?
There's going to be a time in history, 20, 30 years from now, where we'll be able to look back at the moments where we had the opportunity to make change. And we got to ask ourselves and reflect, what do we do in those moments? I'm going to have kids. I'm going to have grandkids. I'm going to have history and a legacy. And the stuff that I do now, whether I live today to see it or not, is going to mean something if I actually do what I'm supposed to. And I can't look at my son's eyes and tell him, like, son, you got to put in work when you're young. Even when, like, the stereotype is you just here just to be here, then you just get a job and work the rest of your life. Like, and I don't do the same thing. There's going to be a city that I'm representing right now that's going to continue to move forward regardless if I put in work or not. So the question is, am I going to be a part of that, or I'm going to subtract from that? And so just the mindset of knowing that one day in time, like, I'm going to look back and I got to judge myself, and those other people going to judge me on what I have done, it keeps me going even in the days that I don't want to keep going.
Right, so your legacy that you leave is what's on your mind 24/7.
Every single day. Every single day.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes we get so caught up in our dreams and we get so caught up in the current that we forget that quicker than we know, we'll be old,
Yeah.
and then we'll be 40. We'll be looking back at our life like, man, I wish I would have did this, what I'm saying? We would be, for you'll be going back to PB homecoming, like looking back like, man, like I was really doing this and that. And then, if you leave that day, picture yourself 40, you go to PB homecoming, you looking around campus like, man, I used to do this, I used to do that.
Right.
And then you leave that day and then you have nothing to show for all the stuff that you did in college.
Right.
It's crazy.
Right.
That if we don't put in the work right now to put ourselves in a higher place, and answer our calling, I feel like everybody has a calling, everybody has a purpose. God designed us all to have purpose, all to have a calling, and it's up to us to become who He's created us to be, So if we look back and if we take advantage of this time, it's so much that we can do. It's so much legacy that we can leave. It's bigger than us. I always say my why is bigger than me. I always say that my why is bigger than me. So, think about your legacy. I feel like that's everything. I want to know though, what do you feel like? How do you handle the criticism? Like take me through your mind. Take me through your steps. Take me through your process on how you handle the criticism. How do you handle, because I know like it's a lot of people right now like, man, I'm trying to do this and I'm trying to do that, but I'm getting so much backlash from my family. I'm getting so much backlash from my friends. I'm getting so much. So take me through how you process. Take me through how you respond. Take me through all of that.
All right, so there's a couple things. First, I really learned to separate the message from the person. Because some people, they say some things that are valid, but the way they say it, like, you don't want to hear none of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I really learned to separate the message from the person, because a lot of times there's some truth in that can help build me up. They just didn't know how to express it the right way. But then sometimes I hear the message and I realize it's nothing but a bunch of negativity. Mm-hmm. And I feel like when God says yes, it don't matter who say no.
Period.
So you just keep moving forward out of that. And it would be ignorant of me not to realize that other people have done what I've done. Like, other people that were young even to this day, we're able to move forward. So to me, it's like, if I'm not the true, authentic pioneer, other people done before me, what makes me different not to have, that ability? And I find power that I'm black. Like, I got melanin in my bones. Like, I know what my people been through. I know what they got through. I know about the villages. I know about Mansa Musa. I know about the Egyptians. Like, I know about the kings and queens. Like, I know about all of them.
Right.
And at those times, like, the whole world was telling them that y'all couldn't accomplish what y'all trying to accomplish.
Right.
But that mentality is what brought them there. So I look at Prairie like a village.
Right.
And there got to be the leader of that village to continue moving forward, even when no one else says it. Because if not me, then who? Who?
Okay.
So we just gotta keep pushing. We gotta keep moving forward. And like I said, I take the criticism like for what it is, and I try to separate the good grains, so I can make something out of it. But then sometimes I just have to let it bounce off my shoulders, because my thing is, I don't like taking advice from people, or I don't like taking criticism from people I wouldn't take advice from.
That's a good one. Say that again.
I don't like taking criticism from people I wouldn't take advice from, because that means they don't come from a good place in their heart.
Right.
They come to tear us down.
Right. And then plus, if I wouldn't go to you to ask for help, why am I going to take all of this criticism for you? Because clearly it's a reason why I don't feel comfortable going to you and asking for help or advice or whatever. That's a good one. And you said that, you know who you are, you know where you came from, so when you hearing, when you going through your situations and you hearing all this backlash, that, you often reflect back, you're like, I know who I am, like, I don't, but do you feel like that has gotten in the way of you progressing, or do you feel like that's helped you, further than has it been times where you said, like, dang, like, I could have really listened better, like, because I know a lot of people going through situations where, they might think that they're doing the right thing, but, how have you ever been in a situation where you didn't make the best decision, and what did you learn from that? Dealing with the people that you deal with on a daily, being in a position that you've been in, has there ever been a time where you like, man, I didn't handle that the best way? What is it that I could do to improve? Like, tell me about a time or something like that, just so people can know that, you feel me, it's not always peaches and cream. It's going to be some times where you mess up. It's going to be some times where you don't know where you're going. You don't know how to respond to something. You might mess up and say the wrong thing, but it's how you come back from it. It's about how it's about how you, progress from there. Tell me about something like that.
Yeah, so it all kind of stems from my first stint of public service, I was SGA Vice President. And, I'm serving a student body of 9,000 students. And yeah, I made a lot of mistakes. There were times where rules and procedures said I should have done this, and because I didn't know the rules and procedures that well, I did something else. And those that know the rules checked me on it. There have been times where there has been someone that would probably really qualify for a spot, but because I didn't do my history or my knowledge or my research on that person, I put them in a spot that they weren't as efficient that they could have been. There were times where I should have advocated on someone's behalf, but I didn't advocate the way I should have, because I was like, what is the backlash? If I'm out on this island with, so I made a whole bunch of mistakes. But the first thing I always do when I make a mistake, first I forgive myself. I gotta forgive myself, because a lot of people will put a stereotype of stigma on you, and they'll just label you right then and there. And I can't put a label on myself the way other folk may do it, because then I gotta keep going forward. So first, I reflect every night. Like, I just think about the decisions that I made, the decisions that I'm gonna make going forward. And if I made any decision that didn't feel right in my soul, my heart, my mind, I forgive myself.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's like, it's one thing to make a mistake, but it's another thing to do it over and over and over again. And a lot of times people make the same mistake over and over again, because they don't learn from it and they don't forgive themselves for making that mistake. So instead of just being honest with yourself, being authentic, like, dang, I could have done it better, we just push it to the back of our mind.
That's the hardest time sometimes, man.
It's tough. It's real tough, because, like, I'm transparent. Like, I'm a black man that leads the city, but I still cry at night. Like, I still go through emotions. Like, I remember, I can't remember, it was like a couple of months ago. There was a situation that was happening in the city that a lot of people were getting hurt from. And I feel like I wasn't voicing, or I wouldn't put my voice out there enough for them.
Right.
And I went into my closet that night and I just cried, because I was like, people are really out here hurting.
Yeah.
And they're looking for me for leadership. And I'm not advocating the way I would want to be advocated for.
Right.
So, like, I have to be, like, real transparent and honest with myself, like, because mental health is not really talked about in the black community for men the way it should be.
Right.
And so I know that I got to take care of myself
Yeah.
if I want to take care of my community.
Right. It's so crazy you say that, because I'm also a registered nurse and I work in a psychiatric hospital. And, you know, I see a lot of people who are just like me and you, but the thing is that they didn't have anybody to talk to. They didn't have anyone to listen. They also didn't know how to deal with their emotions. And I see a lot of black men as well, you know, come in there, and the situations that you hear, you like, man, that could have happened to my dad. That could have happened to my brother. But the difference between them maybe is just how they dealt with the situation. So you're so right. I advocate for every black man, every black woman, every person. Take care of your mental health, because, you know, at the end of the day, all you are left with when everything wastes away is what's on you right now. Your brain, your mind, your body, your limbs. You could take away every materialistic thing, but what's left is this body, this temple that God has blessed us with. So you got to take care of that. That goes with your mental health. Taking care of your mental health is like, you know, it's like taking care of a precious diamond that we've been blessed with, because without good mental health, you're not going to be any good use to the world, you know. So I just commend you for even being open and vulnerable and honest about that. And I commend you for, you know, having that passion so much for the city of Prairie, so much so for the people that, you know, you can feel your passion. Like, you can feel like the intensity that you have for being great for this city, the intensity that you have for making a change, the intensity that you have for not just being any old leader, because, you know, anybody can be a leader, but being that leader that's going to make a change, that leader that's going to lead Prairie View into being, you know, even better, or, you know, than they were before, you know. And I just commend you, because you so young. How old are you?
23.
Oh, that boy 23 talking like this, okay? Like, yes, sir. I pray that you keep that same intensity. Is there any words you want to leave us with? Is there any more gems you want to drop on us? Because you've been dropping gems off the whole time. Is there anything you want to tell us about switching lanes, becoming who you're going to be, who you're destined to be? Is there anything you want to leave us with, Mr. Xante?
I got one last thing.
Okay.
One last caveat. I think it's really important. I've figured out a formula of success for me, from a very general aspect, that helps me be able to switch lanes, helps me be able to find passion, ultimately figure out my destiny. And it's 4 things. It's read, write, experience, and dream. You read because you got to continue to add to your knowledge. You got to keep adding to your repertoire. If you don't read, then you are going to be left ignorant, and you're left vulnerable to society and the world and the labels they place on you. But you need to write, because you need to be able to express those things that you read and put it down, so you can have your own opinions, your own thoughts, and that way you know for sure, like, you know what you know. But you got to experience, because a lot of times we go into different realms, but because we aren't cultured, and we are a culmination of our thoughts and experiences, we gotta be able to say, I understand from that perspective, because I've been there, I've done that type stuff. Even if you fail, because your failure is another indicator that you're going to be successful. And last thing, you gotta dream. Like, a lot of people are afraid to dream. Like, a lot of people are scared to reach outside the box. My favorite poem I hope I'm saying the artist's name right, or poet's name right, Aaron Hansen. And it goes, oh man, I hope I don't butcher this. I know
it's
it.
okay,
Yeah,
we're gonna be forgiven.
Okay. It goes, I'm about to butcher this.
I mean, look it up, man. I'm trying to hear it. I'm trying to hear this poem because I know that's gonna be something that's gonna, you know, we don't think too hard about what we say, but a lot of times the things that we say, especially when, you have influence, you have anointing over your life, you leave people so inspired. Like, you've already inspired me just in the amount of 20 minutes, So I already know that whatever this poem is, it's going to inspire somebody. So I want to hear it, okay?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, because I like to be very exact.
Right.
I don't like to mess up what other people's work is.
Right.
But it's from Aaron Hansen. It's a very short poem. It goes, there's freedom waiting for you on the breezes of the sky, and you ask, what if I fall? Oh, but my darling, what if you fly?
Wow.
And that's all about, taking a chance. Like, a lot of people, they scared that they jump off the cliff, they're going to fall, but it's like, what if you fly? Like, think about your legacy.
Wow.
Think about the experiences you'll see. Because think about, like, a bird. Like, if a bird stayed on the ground, it can only see what's on the ground, on the surface. But if it was in the air, it could see so much more.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, they're so afraid to jump, which is the first step to being able to fly and see all these different things. So their mentality is only what's on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And if your mentality is on the ground, that means you don't have a holistic view of life, mentally, physically, or spiritually. So that's always been my number one poem. And whenever I think about, like, man, you're going to tell you, should I just stay here or should I jump?
Mm-hmm.
Like, but what if you fly, man?
Well, we just want to thank you so much
I appreciate
for
it.
coming
Much
on
love.
the Solution Starters podcast show. We just want to tell you that you have such a bright future ahead of you. We thank you and we appreciate you.
And I want to give a quick shout out to you for starting this initiative, for starting a podcast. These are conversations that our community needs. So keep putting in the work, keep getting better, keep improving, because at the end of the day, when you look back on it, you're going to be so glad you started it. So it's much love to you and the opportunity.
Man, y'all see this man still inspired. Thank you. We appreciate you.